Welcome back, Ref Show Part 2 with Roger and with Dean here. Just to top and tail the Cardiff-Manchester City game, we had that yellow card and it was a pretty brutal challenge, wasn't it?
Dreadful.
Hacking down Leroy Senior and his run, Leroy Sané rather, and his run on goal by Joe Bennett.
Yeah.
Should have been a red, only a yellow. And there's great confusion as to whether VAR can actually correct a yellow card once it's been given or upgrade it. There is confusion.
Well,
on
the
that
protocol is not worded so that there's a definitive. So there is confusion, and I think we've had different messages from different people. So we are seeking clarification. Right.
No clarification needed on the spitting incident. We did think a few weeks ago when we discussed the Samuel Saiz offence and his 6-match ban that we wouldn't be talking about it again this season. Unfortunately, we are. Wigan 2, West Ham 0, which should have been the headline. League One team beating a Premier League team, and deservedly so. Chris Kavanagh was in charge, but Arthur Mazuaku made it rather about him with that despicable, to correctly quote David Moyes, the West Ham manager, offence. Was it ever commonplace in your time refereeing, Roger?
No, it wasn't commonplace. It happened, irregularly. So when something like this happens, as on the weekend, it stands out because those sort of things, the backroom staff, the managers and so forth, make it abundantly clear that they will not accept that sort of thing. And it's good to see David Moyes come out and say that they're going to find the player and they'll accept the punishment because there's no place for it.
Spitting at an opponent, I should have clarified there.
Yeah, it's just no place for it. And as I say, all credit to David Moyes for supporting, that disciplinary action. One
little talking point, clearly on TV, the guy's guilty as charged, and he will get 6 matches based on the fact that Saiz did. David Moyes reckoned the referee didn't actually see it, was reacting to player reaction.
Listen, one of the 4 have seen it. There's no doubt about it, because otherwise there wouldn't have been a red card. The referee wouldn't guess and put themselves in that position. So Chris Kavanagh, excellent again at the weekend. His one decision, which is incorrect, which was the assistant referee's call. But again, a referee not frightened of making the big decisions, and Roger's absolutely right. This player deserves to be dismissed. He'll get a lengthy ban, and it's the hardest offence to pick up. Yes. So between the 4 of them, they've got it.
It took TV slow-mo, and you can see, disgustingly, you can see it quite clearly in that. And as you say, not a penalty for handball. It was just, he couldn't, point blank, wasn't it?
Being hypercritical, I would have liked to seen Chris just squeeze across a bit more, and I think he'd have been saying to the linesman, the assistant referee, I'm not having that one, leave it.
Yeah, more FA Cup incidents to come, but also a reflection on a player in the lower divisions ending up with a 5-game ban for manhandling a match official, which I know that you guys feel is clearly insufficient. Simon Hooper, discuss. Now, this is a young referee on his way up. This is the referee's lot, as it can be.
Yeah.
Just tell us more.
Yeah, disappointing. I've been following Simon Hooper since we got wind of the fact that he's going to be training with the select Group 1 people. So this weekend he has a difficult FA Cup game at Ipswich against Wolves. Very heavy pitch, but does very well in terms of refereeing that game. Brings it to a good conclusion. Sunday, Chelsea against Newcastle. Where is he? 4th official. So he does an FA Cup game Saturday, and he's in London on Sunday. He lives in Swindon, that area. Where is he? Newcastle United against Burnley. So he's 4th official in an FA Cup game in which Newcastle are one of the teams on Sunday, and his next game, his 2nd Premier League game, is at Newcastle United. Now, I don't know what the Football Association and the Premier League are doing in terms of their appointments, but they're not working together. It's always been a problem, and it's continuing today, and they really need to get their acts together.
It's lazy appointing, Alan. I mean, there's the MOAS system now. So when the FA are appointing or the Premier League are appointing, they go into the system and they can see where the referee has been penciled in for during the coming weeks. Those appointments are never published until the week before. So they know where he's penciled in from.
Because for all we know, he may have got on famously with Rafa Benitez on the line, or vice versa.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how he gets on.
Yeah.
He should never have been put in that position, knowing that one of those two teams he's refereeing within about 3 or 4 days.
Correct.
Okay, well, it's a great point. As is the point I think you're going to make here about the sending off of Otis Khan of Yeovil, who was sent off against Chesterfield. We're going back a week or so, or a week or more here, for pushing referee Kevin Johnson in that game.
Yeah.
Now, I know that you've been very active on this, or vociferous on this on Twitter, Dean. He gets 3 matches, actually, only for violent conduct. And then the club appeal. And clearly it's regarded as a frivolous appeal, so he gets 2 more tacked on. Now, he's manhandled a referee and he ends up with 5 matches.
Well,
what do you think it should be?
Well, we had a number of incidents last year where players had physical contact with the referee. There was the incident at Hillsborough with the Blackburn player. There was the incident at Aston Villa with the assistant referee. And the FA continue to hand out very weak suspensions to these players. Over the summer, I liaised with Prospect Union and asked for them to lobby the FA for harsher sanctions. I was told that had been done and that the regulations had been changed, and I'm now waiting for confirmation as to what those regulations are. The one thing is clear, and I did an article on youartheref.com last year saying there should be a minimum 10-game suspension for any player who has physical contact with a referee. It cannot be tolerated.
No.
It cannot be accepted. There are different levels of physical contact, so we're not talking about punching a referee here. That should be, for me, you don't play again. But this is a player who has ran at the referee, has barged the referee, and therefore has been dismissed. So to give him a 3-game ban for that offence is absolutely scandalous. And people at the FA need to listen, because we're losing grassroots referees hand over fist. We're losing them, we're not retaining them. And when they see a professional referee assaulted, because that's what it is, when you make physical contact with a referee, and the FA judge that an accurate suspension is 3 games, it's absolutely disgraceful.
I don't know if there was any similarity at all, but Stuart McCall, the Bradford City manager, was sent to the stand at the weekend for a clash with an assistant referee in Bradford's heavy home defeat. An accidental clash, said Stuart McCall, to be fair. I've not seen it, so let's leave it like that.
Leave it for the referees, the report that goes into the Football Association.
Blackpool v Charlton should have been played at the weekend. Of course, sadly, in every respect, the death of Jimmy Armfield, and the fact that a week ago we were unable to pay our respects here because, quite simply, we shot the show ahead of the sad news. What a great guy, somebody I had great pleasure to know. I know that you did.
Absolutely, absolutely.
A real gentleman, and thoughts with all the family of Jimmy Armfield and all the football family. He was such a great man and a great figure. Obviously was going to be honoured. There was going to be a tribute to him in Blackpool v Charlton, which sadly got called off very late at the weekend, Dean. Very late. 2 p.m, was it?
Yeah, I feel so sorry for spectators who follow their team in the Football League, because they pay a lot of money, not just getting into the ground, but the travel. So if Charlton are playing at Blackpool, a lot of those spectators may well stay overnight, and certainly they're going to have a very early start. So for the referee to make his initial pitch inspection at 1:30 baffles me unbelievably. This is an experienced referee, Carl Boyson, been around a long time. He then delays his inspection and re-inspects at 2 o'clock. Well, nothing's going to change in 30 minutes when we're talking about pitch conditions and being waterlogged. So for me, this is just a lack of due diligence. It's a lack of care for the spectators. Carl should have been proactive. He comes from Hull. I would have thought he's probably stayed overnight anyway.
Would have thought
but he should have been liaising with Charlton and saying, what time is the coach leaving? What time are the spectators setting off? And the inspection should have been done before that.
It just seems to me, rather than blaming one person, just a lack of coordination in the process, doesn't it, really?
Exactly, yeah. The home club have responsibility if they've not brought the referee in, as Roger said before. But ultimately, as a referee, you do your inspection before the away team travels. Now, in this case, Charlton are probably already there. They've stayed over. Yeah. But your main concern on the Football League, are the paying spectators. Stop them travelling if you can.
Okay, well, thanks, chaps. So that's just a cross-section of incident across the weekend. As I'm sure you'll appreciate, in this show, we can't handle it all. We always get plenty to discuss. Do keep your comments coming in, so youaretheref.com, and on that VAR issue, which I think we covered from every side, every angle here, without any delay to the programme in the end. Thanks, guys. Thanks to you for watching. I hope you can rejoin us for another show next week. See you then.